The Crocodile and the Monkey. On the Ganga's greenest isle lived Kurup, the crocodile. Greeny brown with gentle grin, stubby legs and scaly skin, he would view with tepid eyes prey below a certain size. But when a substantial dish, dolphin, turtle, fatter fish swam across his field of view, he would test the water too. Out he'd glide, floating long, silent as a pollywog, nearer, nearer till his prey swam a single length away. Then he'd lunge with smiling head, grab and snap and rip it dead. Then, prime pleasure of his life, drag the carcass to his wife, lay it humbly at her feet, eat a bit, and watch her eat. All along the river bank, mango trees stood rank on rank, and his monkey friend would throw to him as he swam below mangoes gold and ripe and sweet as a special summer treat. Crocodile, your wife, I know, hungers after mangoes so that she pine and weep and swoon, mangoless in burning June. Then Kurup the crocodile, gazing upward with a smile, thus addressed his monkey friend. Dearest monkey, in the end, not the fruit but your sweet love, showered on us from above, constant through the changing years, slakes her griefs and dries her tears. This was only partly true. She liked love and mangoes too. One day, Mrs. Crocodile, gorged on mangoes with a smile, sad yet tender, turned and said, Scalykin, since we've been wed, you've fulfilled my every wish. Dolphins, turtles, mangoes, fish, but I now desire to eat as an anniversary treat something sweeter still than fruit, sugar cane or sugar root. I must eat that monkey's heart. What? Well, darling, for a start, he has been so kind to me. Think how sweet his heart must be. Then the mango pulp he's eaten year on year must serve to sweeten further yet each pore and part, concentrating in his heart. Darling, he's my friend. I know, and he trusts you. Therefore go at once and fetch him here. Oh, my breath grows faint, I fear. Let me fan you. It's the heat. No, I long for something sweet. Every fruit tastes bitter now. I must eat his heart somehow. Get him here, my love, or I, filled with bitterness, will die. When the monkey saw Kurup, he let out a joyful whoop, jumped from branch to branch with pleasure, flinging down the golden treasure. Eat, my friend, and take your wife nectar from the tree of life. Mangoes ripe and mangoes rare, mangoes, mangoes everywhere. Then Kurup the crocodile gazed up with a gentle smile. Monkey, you are far too kind, but today, if you don't mind, dine with both of us and meet her whose life you made so sweet. When you meet her, you will see why she means so much to me. When she takes you by the paw, something at your heart will gnaw. When you gaze into her eyes, you will enter paradise. Let us show our gratitude, share our friendship and our food. Dear Kurup, dear crocodile, you can swim from isle to isle, I can leap from limb to limb, but my friend, I cannot swim, and your island's far away. If I get a boat someday. Nonsense. Jump upon my back. You're no heavier than my sack filled with mangoes to the crown. So the monkey clambered down, bearing mangoes, and delighted with such warmth to be invited. They were just halfway across when the crocodile said, Toss all those mangoes in the water. But these fruit are all I brought her. You yourself are gift enough, said Kurup in accents gruff. Ah, my friend, that's very gracious. Well, my wife's not so voracious, and I'm certain that today she won't eat fruit. By the way, tell me what your heart contains. Mango nectar fills your veins. Does it also fill your heart? Said the monkey with a start. What a very curious question. Well, she might get indigestion if it's too rich, I suspect. What? Your heart. My heart. Correct. Now, Kurup said, with a frown, which would you prefer? to drown in the Ganga or to be gutted by my wife and me? I will let you choose your end. After all, you are my friend. Then he slowly started sinking. Wait, the monkey said, I'm thinking. Death by drowning, death by slaughter, death by land or death by water. I'd face either with a smile for your sake, O crocodile. But your wife's felicity, that's what means the most to me. Noble lady, how she'll freeze, dumb with sorrow, when she sees, having prized my ribs apart, that my breast contains no heart. If you had not rushed me so, I'd have found the time to go to the hollow where I keep heart and liver when I sleep, half my brain, a fingernail, cufflinks, chutney, and spare tail. I had scarcely woken up when you asked me here to sup. Why did you not speak before? I'd have fetched them from the shore. Now Kurup the crocodile lost, then quickly found his smile. How my sweetheart will upbraid me. Monkey, monkey, you must aid me. Well, the monkey placed his paw thoughtfully upon his jaw. Well, although the day is hot, and I'd really rather not, we could go back, fetch my heart, check its sweetness, and depart. So the crocodile once more swam the monkey back to shore, and with tears of thankfulness, mingled with concern and stress, worried what his wife would say with regard to his delay, begged his friend, come back at once. I'm not such a double dunce, yelled the monkey from on high. Tell your scaly wife to try eating her own wicked heart, if she has one, for a start. Mine's been beating in my breast, night and day without a rest. Tell her that. And as for you, here's my parting gift. He threw mangoes, squishy, rotten, dead, down upon the reptile's head, who, with a regretful smile, sat and eyed him for a while. That's the crocodile and the monkey.
You know, Vikram, when you read, that poem, I have to ask you, you deal with both genres, both, prose and poem, but your love for poetry, how does that influence your writing? Or does it at all?
Well, yes, I mean, my love for poetry came prior to my love for prose. I always loved poetry, and I never thought that I'd write fiction. It was because of The Golden Gate, which is a novel which is written in poetry form, that I started writing novels. And then my next novel was A Suitable Boy. So The Golden Gate is a slim volume, which is this is the fat book, A Suitable Boy. If you buy one, you have to buy two, so that you can do your exercises.
But I think when The Suitable Girl is out, I think that could
yes, that would
be
be
the
right.
perfect dumbbell.
Yeah, I must make sure she's exactly as fat as a suitable boy. The suitable fat boy and the suitable fat girl.
Let's not fat shame them, but
No,
let's
quite
have
right.
a girl soon.
Let's have a girl as well. She's been long in the gestation.
That tempts me to ask the question about procrastination that we were discussing. Writers do procrastinate. I'm sure journalists procrastinate, especially when you don't have a deadline.
Yeah.
You have the urge to check the Facebook, or suddenly you have the urge to clean up your inbox. So there are different ways of procrastination. How do you procrastinate?
Well, I've given you one of my methods, Candy Crush. I also, as I say, graze the internet. I sometimes just stare at the ceiling, and sometimes I feel so lazy. I think I'm going to suggest that Sharjah should have a ministry of laziness as well. I am going to become minister of laziness. I'll never go to office. If anyone goes to office, they'll be punished and their salary will be taken away. The ministry of laziness is a great idea. I think every country should have one. Some days I simply can't get out of bed. Luckily, I'm not a school child. I'll read you a poem about that. Some days I simply can't get out of bed.
And I think if they keep murmuring, we should have a declare ministry of silence too.
Yes, a ministry of silence, not a bad idea. Some days.
So could you take us through the prose and the poetry, the
Yes.
combination of that
Well,
in that book?
they're such different genres. But with poetry, you get this satisfaction that when a poem is complete, you know it's complete. With prose, if you write a paragraph, you can always add a sentence or change something. In poetry, if you change anything, then the rhyme or the meter has to be changed. And so it's a more organic art form.
So do you feel, when you write in prose, you have a free hand than poetry? Is poetry a little more restrictive?
It's simultaneously more restrictive and more inspiring. Let me give you an example. With prose, if I want to write something like, there was a crowd of students from the age of 11 to the age of 18, right? So then I could just write that in prose. But for example, if I was saying there were students here from age 11 to the age of 11 to which add 7. You have to do something that makes it rhyme, that makes it more interesting in a different way. And it challenges you to be more inventive. So it's more restrictive and yet it's more freeing.
Challenging, okay. Yeah.
It's a bit like a trampoline. You're sometimes bounced off it into a completely different area.
Do you ever, I do understand when you write, there's a lot of foreplay involved in it.
Yes.
But once you have created a poem or a novel, do you go back and have you had instances you look back, oh, why did I write that?
Yes, sometimes. But I think as I think you said at the beginning, after you've written a book or a poem, it belongs to everyone. So you shouldn't go back and tinker too much with it. Otherwise, people will feel a bit disappointed. And this question of the authority of the author. For example, now someone is making a 6-part serial of A Suitable Boy. And it's a different genre, it's a different category. And I've got to give the director freedom. She will have her own ideas.
But what do you feel about that? Because, those characters, those were your own, though we also owe a share of it.
Yeah.
But when someone is taking the liberty to create a different genre and maybe they have to take certain liberties to play around with the character and how the story is told, are you comfortable with that?
As long as I've chosen a good scriptwriter, a good director, and I have some say in who the actors are, I think I've got to leave it to the director. My problem is that I have a certain Lata, a certain Haresh, a certain Kabir in my head. And I would feel once I've seen them on screen, then my image of them will be a bit more constrained.
Guys, we are going to turn this murmur into some questions. So where is the next question coming from?
Well, I think wherever the murmuring was thickest, we'll ask for a question from there. How about right at the back? The chap's wearing red. Yeah, we want a question from there. And shout it out, because it'll take time for the mic to come here. So just shout the question so that I can hear it. Don't disappear, stand up. I've noticed all the red coats have sat down. Yes. Yeah, I want a question from you, young man.
So what are your hobbies other than reading and writing?
My hobbies? Oh dear. Well,
Other than playing
other
Candy
than that,
Crush.
I like reading, I like swimming. I like singing quite a lot.
You fell into the...
Oh no. And I like calligraphy, in Chinese or Arabic or whatever calligraphy. So
You walked into the trap.
Not at all. As I said, I like everything that begins with S, including scribing. Can we project that thing or not really? No, I don't think.
Do we have a projector here?
Then I'll show you a bit of calligraphy. Maybe the Chinese calligraphy or.
I think here you can. So before you show us, could you tell them how did the Chinese or Arabic calligraphy. What sparked your interest to dabble with that?
I read some Chinese poems in translation. Then I wanted to learn the language. How do I change it? Forward and back. Okay, I'll do that.
I think I should.
So I'll just go through some of this. I wrote a small book of khamosh, as they say. A small book of libretti, which means poems to which someone composes songs and then performs them. So in the first year, I wrote translations of a Chinese poet of the 8th century called Du Fu. And I have a Chinese calligraphy teacher who taught me how to use the brush in a style called running script. And Feng Huo Lian San Yue. It means the beacon fires connect 3 months. He's separate. Jia Shu Di Wan Jin. And a letter from home would be worth 10,000 pieces of gold. So these are 2 lines from the Du Fu poem. And then to the left, I wrote Xie Bin Lang, that's my name in Chinese. Xie is for Sate. They put the surname in the front. Bin Lang is the closest you can get to Vikram. Shu Yu Qiu Shui Zhang, that's my home in Salisbury where I sometimes write. So, and that's my seal. Then in the next year, I wrote some poems set in this house in Salisbury where George Herbert, a wonderful English poet who was contemporaneous with Shakespeare, wrote. So, no, I don't know where it's gone. It's right, I think, at the beginning. And that's 2 poems which he wrote were shaped like that. And I wrote a poem there. Last night a storm raged round the bare oak tree. Every word is 1 syllable long. A cold, sharp rain fell. Wild in pace, the ice-fed air swirled free. Now in its place, I see no trace of wind or lee. And the poem goes on like that. But this isn't really calligraphy, it's just my ordinary handwriting. This is a poem from Surdas, a very great Indian poet who wrote about Krishna, especially in his childhood, when he is complaining to his mother that he wants the moon. He says, Maiya main to chand khilona lahi hoon, jai ho loti dharni par ab. He's complaining that she only loves his brother and she doesn't love him. And his mother tries to distract him by saying, look, we'll find you a bride instead of the moon. He's only 6 years old. Nahi dulahiya dahi hoon. And then he says, Teri so meri suni maiya abhi byahan jai hoon. I'm going to get married immediately, my mother. And then finally, Surdas hai kutil barati. Surdas, the poet, will pretend to be a guest in the wedding. Geet sumangal gai ho, and he will sing auspicious songs. In the 4th year, I didn't know what to do. So I decided, this was the final year of the project, I wrote 7 poems. 1 for each of the 7 elements. Now, are there 7 elements or 4 elements? What are they? 5. Earth, air, fire, water and noise. Not really. The 5th one, which in India we consider an element, is space or akash. We call it something fiza, and exactly. But the Chinese have 5 elements: earth, fire, water, metal and wood. So if you add metal, wood and space to earth, air, fire and water, you get 7 elements. And what I decided to do was to write 7 poems. I'll read you one of the poems, or maybe 2 of these poems. Here we are.
You want to sit and...
No, I'll stand and read them. Or I can sit and read one. This one is called Earth. And again, we would request silence. Here in this pot lies soil, in which all things take birth. The blind roots curve and coil, white in the sunless earth. The soil slips over fire, the great lands crack apart, and lava pulsing higher springs from earth's molten heart. Here in this jar lies clay, dried clay, a whitened dust. The moistened fingers play to make it what they must. The earth begins to reel round, round, and near and far, and on the potter's wheel is born another jar. Here in this urn lies ash, dust uninfused with breath, burnt wood, burnt bone, burnt flesh, the powdered clay of death. The embers from the pyre sink on the rivered earth, and moistened into mire, wait for a further birth. And what I had an Arabic teacher, Nassar Mansour, who is Palestinian, and his great teacher is Hassan Chalabi, the great Turkish calligrapher. And Turkey, of course, as you know now, does not use the Arabic script, but they still have a fantastic tradition of Arabic calligraphy. So he taught me how to cut the pen and how to write, and basically I created this thing. He wasn't with me then, I was in India, it was 2011, I was back home, the Arab Spring was taking place, he was in Jordan at the time, but I used to text him, email him my creation, that he would say, no, your Ra is too pointy or too thin or something. So I created this 7-element thing, and you can see, where is Earth? Exactly, with a dot. Air, fire, where do we find it? Naad. Where's the dal? Oh, nar. Here we are. Nar. And fiza, of course, we can see. And ma'adan for metal. I did this one, this rather fancy one to get the round curve. Ma'adan, and so on. You'll see them all. Khashab for wood with the 3 dots. And so, after that, the 3 hamzas, the 3 dots. But what I decided to do, because it was 2011, was to write the date in the Hijri style. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, as well as 0, because it's 1, 4, 3, 2. And the last trick, which I enjoyed a lot, was to imagine that these are bars. A man is in a room and he's looking at the night sky. And the dots, the nuqtas over here of Madan and are here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Does anyone recognize that? What is that? It's the Great Bear. What do you call Banatnash or something, you know? And where is North? North is here because of that. And what I decided to do after that was just do it in color, so that you can see the 7 stars of the Great Bear and the bars over there. So it gave me a lot of pleasure to do this.
That's beautiful.
And before I end, I'll just read fire and we'll end with that. And I thought that since the young man asked me what my hobbies were,
Yeah.
that
is one of his hobbies.
That's one of my hobbies. We'll leave it at that. And I will finish off, if that's all right with you.
But I want to, because I'm sure there are a lot of budding writers, future writers
Let
here.
them out, yeah.
So if you could just tell them what makes a writer, how can they keep writing? I'm sure everybody tells them how to be successful, but our parents never teach us how to deal with failures, or even how to deal with when you have hurdles in your life.
Yes.
So as a writer,
Yeah.
there's so many. So could you give them a piece of advice? How can they keep going? and not give up writing?
Remember, a writer is not very different from anyone else. You have political views and things go wrong maybe in your country or in your life, or you love someone and they don't love you back, or you might hurt yourself or injure yourself or lose an eye. It can happen to everyone, not necessarily to a writer. A writer also has specific failures. It's a lonely job. And also, as I mentioned earlier, you can write something and then it may go nowhere. So just don't be, the important thing is to be yourself, to not write according to what other people want you to do, and not to be afraid of failure. Because we've only got this one life. So that's all we have. And there's no point in trying to please everyone. Make sure that you can look at yourself in the mirror in the morning. That's one advantage of being a man. You have to shave every day. So you have to look at yourself and ask yourself, would I be proud of myself? Would my father be happy with me? And with women, I suppose, you also have to wash your face and make up or something. So always ask yourself that question. Can I face myself in the mirror?
So is it all about being true to yourself when you write?
Yes, and that is not a message restricted to writers. I think that's true in every profession.
But is also when it comes to writing, I mean, I'm sure you are a very interesting person, you have versatile interests, but can a boring person ever write an interesting book? Or a writer has to be an interesting person?
No, I think writers on the whole, apart from times like this, I live a very boring life. Sometimes, I'm doing something, calligraphy, sometimes I'm hiking across Tibet. But believe me, I've lived a long time. And most of my days, I wake up, I yawn, I think, what will I do with myself? I write a few lines. In the afternoon, I cross them out. So, you have to have interesting characters in your head.
Okay, yeah. So is there one more question I'm going to take from the audience?
Okay, look, I'll take, oh dear.
Okay.
I think anyone who has their hands up now will have to ask their question in one sentence and I'll answer it very quickly. So,
we have a teacher here if you want.
no hands from now and I'll take them left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right in rapid fire. Yes, go ahead. Students before teachers.
Yes.
If that's all right.
Good morning, sir.
Short question.
I'm Gauri Shankar, studying in Sharjah School.
Right.
My question is, have you ever faced a writer's block?
Have I ever faced a writer's block? Yes. I'm afraid I have. Some people say it's taken me so many years to write a suitable girl because I'm facing writer's block. It's partly true. A writer's block means when you simply can't write. Your brain seizes up or you get no ideas. And that's happened to me. Sometimes for years on end I haven't written. Sometimes I even face writer's cramp.
Sir, my question to you is, like you read this, it's excellent first and foremost, and sir, your monkey was much smarter than the nightingale in Frog and the Nightingale. So Nightingale was not that smart. So my question is, why you have some particular fascination towards metaphors and connecting it to human life, human nature?
It's not just me. I mean, people all over the world. For example, from the Panchtantra to Aesop's fables to Krylov's fables in Russia, we are animals actually, and so we should learn from other animals, whether they're beetles, cockroaches, monkeys or eagles. I don't know. I mean, there is a kind of lesson. In the Nightingale, you have to learn to be yourself.
There's
All
one
right.
question there.
Yes.
Sir, out of all your books, which is your favorite one and why?
My favorite book, if today is Sunday,
Today is Monday.
is Monday, so it's The Golden Gate.
Okay.
But tomorrow it will be Beastly Tales, and day after, A Suitable Boy. Okay, I'll take them all here, then I'll take them all there, and then that's that. Last question from this side. Short question, please.
So we all know that Vikram Sir's work, The Frog and the Nightingale, taken from the Beastly Tales, is in our CBSE 10th grade textbook.
Okay.
On that note, I'd like to ask, do you think that our education system is flawed? If so, what are the flaws and what can we, the younger generation, do to revolutionize the education system?
I don't know the education system here, but I would say, remember when you're children, it's not just to study, it's also to enjoy yourself, to have fun, to learn from your parents, to learn from each other, and to have a life. So if you're over studious, then perhaps that it could be a flaw in any education system anywhere in the world. The other thing is, remember, you can always change. I was an economist before I became a writer. I changed at the age of 28 or 30. Immeasurably old from your point of view. So there's life, there is a life and hope after school.
I'm Fahim from Sharjah Indian School.
Fahim from which school?
Sharjah Indian School.
Yeah, I thought there should be a little bit of, yes.
Do you appreciate books to be made into movies?
Ah. Yes, if the writer is dead and doesn't have to see the movie, then I'm all in favor of it. In my case, I have a very good director, a very good cast, and a very good scriptwriter. So I object less to a suitable boy being made into a movie, which is being made at the moment, a television series. But I'm a little afraid that my characters might now be hijacked, possibly by someone else. So that's my one concern. And I'll take one final question from you.
Sir, I'm Andrea from Abu Dhabi Indian School.
What school?
Abu Dhabi Indian School.
Abu Dhabi Indian School. That's right.
So, sir, you have written such intricate stories. So, my question to you is, how do you add depth to your characters to make it interesting?
How do you add depth to your characters to make them interesting? Well, it's like saying to make a loaf of bread.
Guys, can I request some silence in the hall, please?
Okay. What's the name of your school? Abu Dhabi Indian School. Quiet, please. What's the other school's names?
Sharjah Indian School.
Now, whoever is quietest will get a smile from me. Okay. But you have to be very quiet. Now, the answer to the question is, how do you inject depth into your books? Once you've baked a loaf of bread, if it's too heavy and not light enough, you can't inject yeast into it. It has to happen while the bread is being baked, kneaded. You can't inject it. It has to be there from an early period. Don't start writing too soon. Wait until the characters themselves have a certain complexity and depth in themselves and in their interaction with each other. And then start writing. You'll find it much easier then. So that is the end of what I have to say to you guys. And at the end I thought I would read the poem called Nar, Fire. Emirates National School. Thank you for coming. Sharjah Indian School, thank you for coming. Abu Dhabi? Oh, DPS Sharjah. Who has our own boys Sharjah? Only one person from each school speak, otherwise I can't hear you. The Central School. The, not a Central School. So next time I'll call it the suitable boy. Okay, fine. And all the other schools that have come, it's been great fun. And at the end, I thought I would read the poem called Fire, which is, you heard water, which is earth, which was a bit serious. Here's fire. 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 Oh, fire. Fire, fire, desire. Hot, hot, hot. I'm burning a lot. I'm burning a lot with desire. Oh, fire, fire, fire. Hot, hot. Hot as a filament wire. Hot as a filament wire. Hot as prawn jambalaya. I'm burning so hot, I'm baking a pot. Oh, hot, hot, hot is desire. Fire, fire.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119
was born with me. All your eyes can see. Who gave life and birth to sun and star and earth? Who gave pulse and germ to man and beast and worm? Who is hot, hot, hot when black space is not? Who is bright, bright, bright in the endless night? Fire, 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 fire. Oh, fire, fire, fire. Desire, hot, hot, hot. I'm burning a lot with desire. Oh, fire, fire, fire. Hot as a funeral pyre. Leaping up, leaping up higher and higher. Leap up, all of you stand up. Leap up higher and higher. Higher, higher, higher. Higher, higher. Leaping up higher and higher. I sizzle, I daze, I fizzle, I blaze, I scorch, I toast, I smolder, I roast, I flare, I excite, I flash, I ignite, I rage, I lust, I blaze, I combust, red, yellow, white, I light up the night, this endless night with desire. Oh, fire, fire, fire. Fire and water.
Need some water to quench the fire.
Quench the fire.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, guys, for being here, for listening to Vikram. And we really hope that you guys will burn with the fire, with the desire to write, to read, and to keep writing. Thank you so much. Thank you, Vikram, for this fantastic session and for igniting that fire of creativity in the students. Thank you.